Ja did everything he could to lift himself and his family out of this type of environment and to get away from this. And for some reason, he wants to surround himself with these type of people. Why? People that in that life would give anything to be in your life.
This video of Shannon Sharpe happened almost 2 months ago, and it couldn't be any more impactful right now. I can't lie, this is just about the last thing I thought I'd be talking about on Mother's Day. When I woke up in the morning and saw Ja Morant trending on Twitter, I said, oh no, not again. And unfortunately, it happened again. Ja Morant was on another Instagram Live flashing a weapon, but this is the second time in 2 months this has happened. And after the first time, Ja Morant was suspended for 8 games without pay. However, police investigated and ended up not charging Morant with the crime, and the NBA also did its own investigation and could not conclude that the weapon at issue belonged to Ja. It was also unclear if he brought the weapon into the club. And let's just say Ja got pretty lucky there, because if they could prove that the weapon was his, he could have been suspended for 50 games, 5-0. And after the suspension, here's what he had to say.
It's not who I am. I don't condone any type of violence, but I take, full responsibility, for my actions. Made a, bad mistake, and I can see image, that I painted, over myself, my recent mistakes, but, in the future, I'm gonna show everybody who Ja really is, what I'm about, and, change this narrative.
And he's in trouble again after saying that. Just insane stuff. But to be honest with you, I have no appetite into quote-unquote slandering Ja Morant, because we obviously know something's really going on with him, and everyone else on the internet will do that, because we all know how the internet works. What I'm going to talk about today is a little bit different. Does Ja Morant have the right people around him? And the answer is obviously no at this point, and he needs to figure it out. Who are Ja Morant's friends? What are they doing? And my question is, do they even care about him? Because honestly, it doesn't look like they do very much. If you ever heard these two quotes, I feel like they go very well with Ja Morant's situation. Sometimes you gotta make a choice between money and friends. Or, honesty is an expensive gift, don't expect it from cheap people. In my mind, these are perfect for Ja, and let me explain. Ja Morant's set when it comes to money. He's already made a ton of it. We're talking insane amount of money. Morant signed a 5-year, $194 million contract with the Memphis Grizzlies, including all the money fully guaranteed and an average annual value of $38 million. And it's insane because he left a bunch of money on the table. This season, Ja could have made $39 more million because he missed out on an all-NBA team at no other fault of his own due to his antics and just his behavior this season. Because let me tell you, his numbers were clearly good enough to be all-NBA at least 1, 2, or 3. But the voters didn't vote him in because of the stuff off the court. And we can talk about if I think that that's fair or not in another video a different time, because I have some thoughts on it. But in regards to Ja Morant, it happened. And right after this news broke of him not making the selection, he made this cryptic tweet saying, back on top soon. Well, unfortunately for Ja, that isn't going to be the case. Here's what Adrian Wojnarowski has to say about Ja Morant's new incident.
Ja Morant is facing the very real possibility of a suspension, a lengthy suspension, to start next season after this latest incident with he and an apparent firearm in his possession. This is twice in 2 months now. The league suspended him for 8 games, really 2 of them retroactive to really just 2 games earlier this season. I sense already today that Adam Silver is going to feel increasing pressure from other teams in the league who see this as much as it impacts the Grizzlies, that it impacts them and their ability to market their players and their teams.
Without saying it's official, it's pretty official. Ja Morant is in deep trouble. And the question is, how can Ja Morant help Ja Morant? Simple. He needs to get better friends. Because you hear athletes talking about it all the time. You got to be careful who you're around with. And Kyle Kuzma gave his thoughts about Ja Morant 2 months ago, and I feel like it completely explains what I'm trying to say better than I could possibly say.
We're blessed to be 1%ers, right? We're blessed to have, in his case, shoe deal, $200 million on the horizons. I think a lot of times, we are figures, but we are role models too. I know that, when I first came in the league, I had all my homeboys around me, back from the city. We had great times. It was very important to keep my homies around because I grew up with them, right? But my homies are just yesing me and they're not allowing me to be my best version of myself. Are they really my homies?
He's absolutely nailed it. Couldn't say any better. And he wouldn't be the first one to say something like this along these lines. Jalen Rose had something similar to say earlier in the season.
Young people have to understand, and in Ja Morant's case, when you first get drafted, you go from being a member of the family, a member of the crew, to being the leader. When you the leader, it's on you. What I had to learn is that people come into your life for 4 reasons: to add, subtract, multiply or divide. You have to choose wisely.
And these two videos were from 2 months ago, not yesterday. It's insane how similar the first incident was compared to this one. And multiple athletes across sports are coming to Twitter expressing their concerns, like J.R. Smith saying, "I just don't get it. I just don't get it." Or A.J. Brown, who plays for the Eagles, saying, "Watch who you call your friend and what you consume, what you watch, what you hear, and who you're around with. Music really got our generation in a chokehold, and y'all better stop letting this music persuade you to crash out. Half of them lying anyway. Sad situation for real." Or Juan Toscano Anderson. And in my opinion, this one speaks the loudest. It like screams to me. If people got their phone out recording my privacy in private time, that's a way to never be invited around me again. However, I am mature enough to understand accountability, but why they always record it? It's just so true. Because I'm not saying that Ja Morant's not accountable at all, because he is. But I do think that it's a bigger picture here. What are his friends doing? Do they really even care about him? It seems like they're just putting stuff on the internet to get him in trouble. And I'm gonna end this video with a video from Chris Carter that Ja Morant needs to listen to and take very seriously.
Now, every dime that come into Teddy, all right, is gonna be earned by him and his body. Now, I let my homeboys know. Y'all wanna keep rolling like this? Then I need to know who gonna be the fall guy, who gonna be driving, because y'all not gonna all do the right stuff now, all right? So I got to teach y'all how to get around all this stuff, too. If you gonna have a crew, one of them fools got to know he going to jail. We'll get him out. If you gonna have a crew, make sure you know who gonna be the fall guy.
I specifically remember seeing this video and being like, this is so dumb, no way. And boy, is Chris Carter right. Ja Morant needs to get people like Chris Carter's talking about.